This show is definitely not for kids.
I thought you were gonna say this show is slow. I know why they put 3 episodes out in one day. We've only seen episode 1. Chill.
Everyone, welcome back to another Andor-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
Andor, I'm Drew.
Okay.
But
we are back
yes.
with Andor Season 1, Episode 1. And that's what's called, Episode 1.
Episode 1.
I'm kind of missing that we don't have like episode titles anymore for anything.
Yeah, why is that?
Like Obi-Wan was just part 1, 2, 3. This is episode 1, 2, 3.
Well, and Boba did Boba have titles?
Yeah, it had long titles. Like Mando was like
back in the day when
was like the passenger, and Boba Fett was like some long title, like a sentence.
But remember, Boba Fett and Mando, they're not episodes either; they're chapters.
That is true, but they would still have a chapter name, though.
True, so, I know. This is weird. Like, maybe they'll release the names at the end.
Maybe just because it's all 3 episodes. They don't want to like have the titles give away if you read ahead. Mm-hmm. I was like trying really hard not to read like the episode descriptions like after episode 1.
Yeah.
But
so Jeremiah, did you so I noticed one thing. When they do the time, they round up. So I went to go like put in the time for the episode countdown for the watch party, and it said 42 minutes. And then when I clicked on the episode, it was 41 minutes and 12 seconds. I'm like, y'all rounded up so much to just say it was.
They always round up. I've always known that because it's never exact.
By 50 seconds, like,
I don't know.
They're just trying to make them look way longer than they actually are. And then
first of all, they're plenty long enough. This is 40-some minutes, so.
But 7 of that was.
That's every show, though, so.
I know. I'm just saying.
But it is what it is. So what was it, 42 minutes? Next episode is 38. And then another like 42 minutes for the third episode or something like that. So at least we're not getting like under a half hour, like, which would have been terrible. But
true,
because we were worried that this was going to be like shorter episodes because there's so many. But
there's 12 episodes in
12 episodes
season.
Yeah. So looks like they're going to be in that 40-minute range. I'm hoping that like that. So that's exciting.
And also with this, by the time of recording, you're listening, we have not watched episode 2 or 3 yet.
Right.
So just so you guys know, so if we predict something or we try to have some predictions and they're completely off and don't make any sense, that's because we have not watched the 2 other episodes. So
yep.
Just so you guys are aware of that.
Yep. So let's do 1 episode at a time, just so we can have a more in-depth discussion on each episode without being tainted by other episodes that are coming out today or came out today, I should say. But Drew, like we normally do, start out with an new episode. What was your overall thoughts of this episode?
Slow.
Well, that's just what it was. But like, what's your opinion of it?
I mean,
you like that it was slow, or
it was cool. Like it's visually, it was amazing. I thought the planets that we went to were really cool, and the creatures were really cool, and the droids and stuff. But like overall, like. I know why they put 3 episodes out in one day, because if they just did this and like, all right, see you next week, half the audience that aren't diehard Star Wars fans won't come back.
Do you think that?
I 100%. The major plot thing that happened was like earlier in the episode, and then it kind of just dragged, and it left you think like you don't even know what happened, like what they're even talking about half the time, like. it's kind of all secretive, and then the cliffhanger in the end part of the cliffhanger is a word that doesn't even have a subtitle. It's like blah blah blah, and then it's like that was the end of the
I don't know. I
episode.
thought you
Like,
said something about dinner. It sounded like, "I'll be back for dinner" or something
yeah,
like
like I don't know, like there's so it kind of was like okay, like this like the lamest cliffhanger of all time. Like it doesn't do anything for me. So
But
like
did you like the episode though?
overall, I thought it was a fine episode. Like I could rank it right now. Like it's definitely not even in the eights for me. Like
Okay,
I don't know, it's like a seven. Like
7.
it was fun. Like it was fine. Like visually, I thought it was really cool. Casting like he's a good actor, so like the acting was really good. The plot I think has potential, but like I said, like if this was episode one, we'll see you next week. Guarantee half the people would not even watch it because it's just like it's low. Like it just felt like maybe it's also because I watched it at 7 a.m. this morning. I was like a little. I didn't have my coffee yet. I don't know, but it just felt like it kind of dragged a little bit.
Okay.
You,
I
Jeremiah?
I guess I would agree with you. It was slower. It was definitely because I going in, I thought that Cassian was doing rebellion stuff,
Already?
like a solo rebel, like not connected
Mm.
to anything. He was just doing his own thing to disrupt um, the Empire and like maybe helping his group of whatever to like survive. But he was just more kind of like a scumbag, like
Just trying to survive in the
trying to
galaxy.
survive and like getting by, and he owes everybody money,
Yeah, it
and
sounds like he's in a bad predicament.
yeah,
People
so
like him, but at the same time, he's crossing a lot. He's like messing with a lot of people, and people are getting fed up. Seems like.
yeah, so like this that was a I guess it's good to like give you something give us something that we're not expecting, just so we're not like bored with it, because like it was new. Okay, now I got to figure out exactly what his thing is, because like this famous line, memeable line from Rogue One was, "I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old." So that's
Mhm.
kind of like I thought, oh, he's been doing rebellion stuff his whole life, where it seems like it's only been him kind of like trying to survive and being an agitator
So like
and
it's
whatnot.
like he's doing rebellion stuff, the fight, but for a while it was selfish. It seems
Maybe because it
like it
was
seems like he's doing certain things right now. Like I said, we have no idea really what he's doing. That was
right.
40 minutes of building up a
Well,
plot that we don't really know. So that's why it's kind of hard like to say what he was doing, but it seems like he's very like he's doing some things that could be irritating the empire, but also it seems like maybe if this is real, if he's really trying to find his sister, he's
like
also potentially trying to find his sister. It's
so
kind of hard to
that
say.
that might be his main end goal of what everything he's doing, like trying to make money and borrow ships and stuff, is to like learn to find out where his sister is, which is an interesting idea. That everything that he's doing is for his sister, in a sense, to try and rescue her out of, which we'll talk about later.
And Will says when you watch episode two, you'll understand why it's slow. I'm not saying that. I'm pretty sure I agree with that, but that's what I'm saying. Like if they would have just dropped episode one, people would not come back, and that's why they had dropped more than one episode. 3 episodes a little aggressive, but 2, it makes sense why they didn't drop 1 episode at once because it is slow.
Right. And so, like, I think what's interesting though that about this setting, it seems like this planetary system of planets, um, they're not like fully under control of the Empire. It's more like because like the one like head security guy that's trying to like cover up the murder or whatever, he's like, I have a meeting with the Empire to talk about crime rates, and I'm just trying to get by through this. And it seems like the Empire is like has their eye on this system, but they're not
Mm-hmm.
like fully there. And
Not
so
yet.
that might be kind of why Cassian is in this system, is because he
Mm-hmm.
can do more illegal things without the Empire standing there patrolling the streets and all that stuff. There's more freedom in this system, and maybe that's why there's a lot of crime and smuggling and black
Yep.
market stuff.
And
Because
it also seems like because like he has to report to the Empire, it seems like it's because if they hit a certain threshold of like crime, then the Empire are gonna have to
come in,
intervene,
yeah.
and
So
they don't want that. They want to be able to control themselves. But also throughout that, you understand that a lot of these guards and stuff don't really like they're really lazy. Like they're all
well,
trying to cut as many corners as possible.
yeah, I just think because they have the freedom, because they're not under the hammer of the Empire directly,
Hmm.
like they're just being regular people. Like we
Yeah,
all
but
work
like
we all work with people that are kind of,
yeah.
they're eating their blue Chinese noodles like out of the box, like, and goofing off or whatever, and just doing what they gotta do.
All right, let's all look like we're doing our work so we can get actually paid overtime this time.
Yeah, so like, I, it's just an interesting setting because it's during the Imperial era, but this system seems to be, because they're compliant, because they're doing what they're supposed to do. The Empire doesn't have to patrol them, which is
Hmm.
a cool way of thinking of things.
Yeah,
But of course, it's Star Wars. We're gonna see how the Empire comes in and ends up.
messes everything up, anyways.
Yeah, because we see in the trailers that like his main planet that he's on, Ferric, is
The
or
Empire is there
Furic
already.
or whatever, is gonna be there. So I think we get it. It's a Star Wars, but overall,
Well,
I enjoyed it for what it was. Like, I think it's setting up a lot of really cool things. But like you said, it is kind of slow, which I think it's time for a new kind of Star Wars, and this show is definitely going to be it. So I'm
yeah, I'm not saying that like I hate it. I know in hindsight it's gonna be a really good episode. I just think like I said, there's a reason why they drop more than one episode at a time because I just think it kind of dragged a little bit for the common viewer.
common
Like
folk.
I don't know, like if Steph watched it, for instance, and this only episode I showed her, and it was like, all right, we gotta wait until next week. She'd be like, it was okay. I don't know. And the cliffhanger was lame, dude. I'm just gonna say that straight up. It was so
Oh,
dumb.
okay. We'll talk about that.
It
I don't
was
think it was that lame.
dumb. It was lame.
I think it stopped suddenly.
That's
Yeah.
what I mean. The stop suddenly to a language that we don't have a subtitle for doesn't bring anything to me at all.
Hey, there was
There's
one
nothing.
subtitle phrase when
Oh,
when the older kid like yelled at Cassian for putting paint on.
yeah.
The female leader was like, "Hey," and it said
Art.
EY
Oh yeah.
exclamation point.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they say A. That's the
Yeah.
universal word right there.
Yeah.
A.
I just thought it kind of threw me off that there's no subtitles for a
Well, we'll talk
language.
about that, and I think it makes perfect sense why it did that. But
Yeah.
anyway, we should just jump in scene by scene now. Um, so the opening like title reveal was really weird for me.
Slow as heck.
Well, it was slow, but I was like, I didn't realize that. Obviously, at first, you don't know that they're gonna do a title thing because it looks like it's like a stars with like a planet coming in view. But like, I
A
was like,
moon.
this is like, this is crappy animation, like CGI, whatever. This is terrible. Like, this
For
is
me, it didn't.
But then like they made it into a title, and like, okay, it's just title screen. But I was like, man, if this is
Yeah.
what it's gonna look like during the show, this is terrible. But
Yeah.
because they've never done that, like for an opening of a show, it's always like
No,
first
because
scene, and then they do a
Dodong, like the Mandalorian.
yeah. So
Yeah, I don't. Well, it's different creators too, so
right,
the
but
vision of different people.
um, so it opens up. The show opens up with Cassian walking, running fast, whatever, down a like a bridge or something with these lights, and it's raining, and
Hmm.
it says they're on the planet Morlana 1, and
Hmm.
then other planets we'll get to same system, the Morlani system sounds like. And so this is probably the main planet in this system, and it says BBY 5, so 5 years before the Battle of Yavin, which we knew was the timeline, but it's,
Mhm.
a lot of people who might be watching might not have put all this research into the show, so they didn't know that. So hopefully they know what BBY means, before the Battle of Yavin. Um, but the visuals of this, it reminded me of, like, I've only seen the movie once, but was it Blade Runner, like from the
Yeah,
80s? Like
I could see that.
that kind of a visual, like city, like, doesn't it rain a lot in that
I
movie?
believe, yeah.
Something, I don't know. I felt like that, and then like maybe a little bit like Tron from the 80s, like with the lights, like the bright lights in the dark.
LED kind of
So like
flashing.
it, and then like other places, like in this, like on like like the other planet, Furik, like, or and in the, like, the Imperial, or not the Imperial, but like the security headquarters, it had this very 80s look to me. Like the sets were very 80s style, which I think makes sense, because if this is supposed to really tie into Rogue One and the original trilogy, like
It's
that kind of
supposed to
time,
feel like that,
it's supposed to
yeah.
feel like that. So I thought it was really interesting that it had a very 80s sci-fi science fiction look to it. Um,
Even their clothes kind of felt 80s too. And even the chat saying, yeah, it felt like the 80, like very 80s movie.
yeah, so I thought it was cool. Like, even though that security headquarters was, seemingly very high tech, it still had that retro 70s 80s.
Yeah, the chat's like Total
Look to it.
Recall
Right. Oh,
kind of
maybe Total
feel.
Recall. Maybe that was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But they're all the 80s
They're
movies.
all
They're
I mean,
all.
they're all 80s movies.
They didn't really have
Kind
the
of felt like A
CGI
New
back
Hope
then,
a
so
little bit.
yeah. So they didn't have the CGI back then to, like, make all these, like, cool sets. So they just had to do
Mhm.
practical things and just make it with what they had. So, um, yeah. So that was the cool, like, feel to things. And then Cassian is kind of like walking through, like, the back alleys. Um, and there are these, like, clear orb things, like, that people were sitting in to advertise themselves, I'm assuming is
It I said it right away in the watch party. It's like, oh, so this is their version of like the red light district,
right.
essentially.
Maybe that's a good way to put it. And so I don't know. It kind of
And
reminded
if
me
you
of,
don't
like,
know what that is,
don't Google it.
well, ask your mom and dad,
um,
and maybe they'll tell you. But
like,
yeah.
those little, like, orb things.
Mhm.
Um, it reminded me of, like the McDonald's play place, where it's like a dead end, but like it was like a end
Oh,
circle. You
yeah,
could,
yeah,
like,
yeah, like the circle thing that you can always, like, slap on and like, yell at your parents from.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, do you remember back when we were kids, and it was someone's birthday party, like yours or your brother Jess's birthday party, and we all, like, stayed in the tubes at, like, was it called DZ, Discovery Zone?
Oh, yeah.
Remember, like, we all, like, it was time to go, and we all just, like, ran into the tubes,
And we would not leave,
and we
yeah.
would not leave,
And our
and
parents were mad.
mad. And, like, I remember I tried to, like, there's like two, like, halves. It's like I tried to, like, leave one half and, like, run across the opening to, like, the other one, and your dad grabbed my wrist and dragged me to my
Really?
dad. I remember that. My dad was
Uh,
so mad. Oh man, that
so
was
when
one.
my dad grabbed you
Yeah, and he was like, it was like firm right on my wrist. Like I was not getting away from your dad.
busted.
You remember that or no?
Yeah, no, I do. I remember that place. I don't remember you getting
This
busted or hiding as much, but I remember
Discovery Zone. Back in
this
when we were
story.
kids, it was like a giant McDonald's play place, like, tube system, but then they also had,
Mhm.
like, ball pits and, like, arcade games and
Yeah, dude, they need
stuff.
to bring something like that back, dude. I would totally take Miles, and he'd probably do the same thing you did, though. Nah.
Yeah. Anyway, um, but yeah, so Cassian goes through the alleys and he gets to this one building, which when he entered it, I thought it was just like a bar, like a nice fancy bar, but I guess it was what they refer to as in the show as a brothel. Which, if you don't know what that is, ask your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
So did you didn't give your warning, but yeah,
parental advisory for this,
for
some of
this
these talking
because
points. But yeah. So because this, I'm assuming it was because it was raining. Like that's why it wasn't busy. Because oh yeah, it's not busy tonight. Like and so
oh, that's a good point. Yeah, probably.
um
Also, I thought it was interesting when they're like no guns, like no weapons, no guns,
no
no
comms.
no comms, no credits. I was like,
Oh no, it said no credit, like single like credit card. Like oh yeah, I'll pay later.
oh, that's what that meant. I was like, what does that mean? No
Yeah,
money? And then she
I
said
was
like
I was
pay
confused
at
at the
the
first, but
end.
when I watched it the second time with the subtitles, it just said no credit.
Oh,
I think it was yeah, bill me later, like because obviously for that
no
kind
checks
of
essentially. Like you
yeah,
can't.
it was for that kind of business you want money up front, like right
Oh,
there,
and under the table too, so cash probably stuff that can't be tracked.
right? Because
That's
we do find out that this establishment is not legal. Like the security
mhm.
guy says, like it's not even supposed to be there. So definitely an illegal part of town. But then you go there, he goes there, and there's two secure like the guards from the system, like they're at the table or bar or whatever. And so Cassian, he's there, and then seems maybe like the primary like hostess lady that maybe runs the place kind of asks Cassian who or what he's kind of looking for to do with that evening, and
And apparently it can't be the bartender.
right, okay, yeah. So
Mm-mm.
apparently the guards know from
the
experience
guard
not to mess
the
with
guards
that.
know she'll bust you up.
Yes, so he says. So Cassian says, like, I heard there's a girl from the planet Canary or Canary system, um, and she's like, it's just a kind of like an obscure world, and so she thought it was just kind of like, oh, are you originally from there? You kind of want to get someone from your own planet. Um, for the,
Jeremiah's
she says
struggling through this conversation.
she's saying like for nostalgia reasons
Mm,
or whatever, and she's like, okay, I'll go.
familiar face, maybe.
Yeah, go. She's like, okay, I'll go back, ask, see if any of these girls are from that planet, and then he kind of has a little like argument, kind of like face off with the two guards, like just them just kind of not seeing eye to eye or whatever. Because Cassian, he's like doing things illegally, and he's in an illegal part of town, but there's guards that are not supposed to be there from the government. So it's like he doesn't know what to say because he's keeping their eye on them, but they notice he's looking at them, and so he's like, "You got a problem?" type of thing, and they're nope.
And I think they were also frustrated with him because he got service right away.
Yes,
Unlike those guards who were waiting there for a while, they're already intoxicated, like they're already
yeah,
gone. And so I think they were kind of thrown off by that he just walked in and like got what, or like they already greeted him and they were gonna give him what he wanted potentially. And I think with that too, it was because he was not a familiar face. He was a new person, which means potentially they can get him to pay more. Like, like that's kind of how
right.
those places
And they
run.
probably didn't even want to service those
They wanted to
guards.
get them drunk so that they didn't have to fully service them.
That too,
Essentially, that's what it seemed like. Cause that one guy, he was already all the way out. Like that one guy was gone.
right.
That guy was sitting down. Yeah, we've been there for a while, like, bro. You need to go home.
So anyway, the lady comes out and says, "Hey, the person you're looking for used to work here, but she disappeared, and no one knows where she went." And so she's kind of worried, okay, who are you actually? Are you this girl's boyfriend, husband, like whatever? And he's like, no, she's my sister, and I'm looking for her. Um, but she didn't really have any information other than that she disappeared. So it's kind of intriguing. Like, did she disappear because she ran away? Was she
Yeah.
taken? Like, It's going to be interesting to learn about more about her sister as the show goes on to see exactly what happened with her. If she has any ties to maybe some other like illegal enterprise of some sort where she's kind of more of a, a slave of some sorts or something like that, and she's kind of being put where she needs to be at specific moments. We don't know. Um,
It's kind of hard to tell so far.
it's kind of hard to tell, but um,
We'll probably
so
find out.
he leaves. Cassian then leaves the bar because obviously there's a dead end for him there. Um, and while he's leaving, he's walking down another alley, and then the guards pursue him in the alley and say, "Hey, you're not supposed to even be here. Like, there's a curfew for visitors, and we're gonna take you in for questioning and ticket you, type of thing." And
You're a
so
nerve herder, stuff like that.
stuff like that. So they were drunk, and two, like because they were drunk, they were trying to like flaunt
Their stuff.
their guard, police force,
Hmm.
whatever type of power. Um, and so,
And try to rob them.
well, yeah, because he was like, Casey was like, all right, I don't want any trouble. Like, I got 300 credits in my pocket. Just go ahead and take it, and we can just call this night. And I can like, oh yeah, that's about covers all the legal fees that you'd have to go through anyway. So, um, when the guy's going through Cassian's pockets, he back headbutts him, and then gets in a tuffle with the guy with the gun. And scuffle is tuffle a
Scuffle.
word? Scuffle, but is tuffle a word?
Cuffle.
Tuffle? I don't know. A scuffle. So he knocked the gun out of his hand, grabbed the gun, but um, the guy that he headbutted fell down and hit his head apparently, and just died. Like,
Yeah. Well, he was
like
probably drunk too, so he probably fell really hard.
right, but I don't know. I was like,
I was like, "What?
usually
He died from that?" In
because
Star
all
Wars, you could get stabbed and you don't die. Like, how does this work?
yeah. So like but it was weird because all we see was a headbutt back. Like Cassian
Mhm.
throws his head back, hits the guy in the head, and that's all we see until the next time we see him. He's just laying on the ground. Normally, you would see okay, he headbutts him, and then you see him like hit his head on something, and then
Yeah.
we go back, and then he's dead. So it kind of was like a weird thing for me.
It
Like he
it
just
felt
instantly died. Seemed
yeah, it
like
felt even I was like, "Wait, that was it?" Like, he died from that? And in my mind, though, I was thinking, like, "Dude, Star Wars, you legitly can get stabbed or thrown from any high level, go into any shaft." Like, there's so
yeah,
many
but you
ways.
gotta be force sensitive to
I mean, I guess for all these people, they're probably yeah, that's true. But I'm just saying, like, it's Star Wars. People don't just die from a headbutt. That's a new one.
right. So
So yeah, but he died.
um yeah, so Cassian, he gets the gun, the blaster, and he's aiming it at the other guard. He's like, "Hey, get your other guy up." And then that's when he realizes he's dead. And so, um, I don't know. I really liked the acting of the guy that didn't die first. I should say.
Yeah.
I thought he did really well, and um, I think because he was his argument like when he was yelling like he's like, "Hey, this was an accident. We can just go in and explain that this was an accident, like, and
Going
that's
together
going
and
together." So, like, I think that's why Cassian ended up shooting him in the head is just because, like, the guard still wanted to take him in,
mhm.
like, but like I think that if you said, "Look, you can go," like
I
you have
don't
the
know,
gun, like you
bro.
can go. I feel like Cassian would have let him live.
I don't think so. I think he was trying to say that so like he wouldn't Cassian wouldn't kill him.
Well, he was saying that too, but like he
Because
could
for
just
me, it felt
said
like he was like, I'll be on your side if like, because if he lets him go, he's gonna probably try to hunt him down, and then he's gonna try to kill him anyways, or get him,
right, but he
arrest
knew
him.
that he could just escape and leave the planet like he did. And it seems like his ship was like we'll learn later, like not like a traceable ship. Like there was no record of it
Yeah,
entering,
it's like a
coming.
mod kind of ship,
So
but
like
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
For me, it felt like he was trying to say that so that they could actually do it the right way and he wouldn't get in trouble or as much trouble if they did it the right way.
Right,
If
because the
not,
guard
then
himself wasn't even supposed to be there, so
yeah,
they say that he should have been like the head guard thing later on. He's like he shouldn't even have been, and he would have been fired anyway for being in that situation.
yeah,
And so, like, I personally, I think that if he just said, "Hey, you can go," like Cassian wouldn't have killed him, but because he still wanted to bring him in, like he had no option in his
yeah.
opinion, because like Cassian was visibly upset that like the first guy died. Like he did not mean
No,
to
he
kill
was
him.
like shaking, and
He
that was not
wanted
his
to get out of that situation without killing anyone. He just wanted to like
correct.
knock him out and get out.
Yep.
And so,
That was not Castian's goal to murder this dude. His goal was to get out of there, beat him up, and then tell him to leave. And he was going to probably keep the gun and then just run away, kind of thing. But instead, he killed them both.
yeah, and then like in Rogue One, he says like we've done all terrible things in the name of the rebellion type of thing.
Hmm.
Like we're kind of it didn't like villainize the rebellion, but it didn't like make him like this perfect like innocent.
Holy team.
Right. And so this is kind of like part of like this is what the rebellion is made up
Yeah.
of people who've struggled in the galaxy and are just trying to make their way and then end up trying to fight for something
Yeah.
better.
I think that's what was so good about Rogue One because it did highlight that too. And I think with Rogue One too, it's like, or when they blew up the Death Star, there's millions of people on there.
Yeah.
Millions of people died.
Yep.
Yeah, in one instant. So like, yeah, and I think in all war, no matter what side you're on, even if you think you're right, people are gonna end up dying no matter what. So it makes sense to show that, like, even with the Empire or like the rebellion to fight the Empire, innocent people still got hurt, or like someone's mom and dad got hurt because their son died or their daughter passed away or
Right.
whatever. So yeah.
Yeah.
And it, yeah, so it makes sense to show like this is the beginning of that. Now, but at this point, we don't even know if this is part of a rebellion part. Like this is right now, these two people died because he didn't want to get caught for his own reasons. Like we don't even know if it's actually part of rebellion reasons. But I feel like we kind of do in the sense. We'll kind of talk about that in a little bit, but
Right.
from what
So
that one girl ends up doing, kind of felt rebellion-y.
yeah. So this that's the opening scene of the series is this whole brothel scene, guards in the alley scene. Like that's how it shows up. I'm like, okay, this is a different Star Wars show. It's more.
Oh yeah,
I,
PG
I
13 right away.
it's like I purposely didn't want to look at any reviews or anything, but like, saw people were kind of saying like this is more mature, more adult oriented. I feel like we're also going to get very like political, and when we get to the Senate stuff with Mon Mothma and all that stuff. So it's definitely not light viewing. It's definitely not for kids. But
Yeah,
it's gonna
13.
yeah. So anyway, after this, it goes to the planet. I'm assuming it's pronounced Ferric, Ferrix. I don't think it's Ferric because we have Dank Ferric, so I'm gonna say Ferric.
Well, maybe that's Dank Ferric because
Well, they're spelled different. So
true. I was gonna say because that planet is so dank. that's
maybe
that's like
they could say a pun on that later on in the episode, like
true.
"Dang Ferric, this place" or something
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, so it's it says it's in the Morlani system, so it's a planet near Morlana 1, I'm assuming. Same system, and it's the trade sector. Um, which is interesting, so because we thought from the trailers that it might be Braca, which we've seen in Bad Batch and in Jedi Fallen Order, where it's like a scrapyard for starships, like especially the larger
Hmm.
Imperial ships and Republic cruisers and stuff early on, and we thought that's what it was maybe going to be, but obviously in a galaxy this big, there's going to have more than one planet that does that kind of thing. So definitely a lot of junk stuff, but with that comes a lot of like repair shops and part places and stuff, which we see. And so this droid that we saw in the trailer, this red droid that kind of looks like I don't know, kind of like a Wally type of thing, maybe a little guy that just rolls around. And I thought, okay, so in The Force Awakens, we see C-3PO with a red arm, so a yellow gold color with a red arm. But this droid was all red with one
It's
gold
cool. With
arm
one,
or
yeah.
wheel foot thing. So
Hmm.
I don't know if they did that on purpose like that, but I don't know. I thought it was it made me think of that.
Now, did he look like a fire hydrant? A
A
little
little
bit.
bit, a little
So
bit. Now that
he
you mention it, but
he did get peed on. So
oh, that is true. I
that's
didn't
what I
even think of
mean.
that.
So
But yeah, so this droid's name is B2 Emo. So B2 EMO, and so it just looks like B2 Emo. So I'm sure we can just call him B2. I'm sure that's what he'll be referred to as B2. Um,
or emo. He was a little sad sounding.
he's a little slow. I think he's an old model. This guy could probably be like hundreds of years old.
Yeah, it seems like he's been through the ringer a little bit.
He's
He
like
he
he's
was
trying to
stuck.
remember what happened the night before the memory
Yeah.
leg, memory leg. I thought it was funny. But yeah, so he's just strolling around and he goes back
Did you
to
like the design of it?
I don't know, it's interesting. Like
Yeah, it just honestly made me miss K2SO.
it doesn't even have nothing to do with him.
um, if I want a droid in
It
this
was
show, I want
here's the thing.
K2SO.
I was thinking so when that dog peed on him and he shocked him,
Hmm.
I was like, oh, is he gonna like kill him? Like, oh, and he just shocks him. But I was like, if that was Chopper would have shocked the crap out of that dog and killed that dog.
Yep.
So,
Or R2 would have like threw a bunch of oil on him and then caught him
yeah.
on fire
Well,
and walked away.
hopefully, maybe B2 will meet Chopper next season when they're closer to Rogue One in that final end of
Yeah.
the
So
season.
so
So,
you decided he's not in this show?
Chopper?
No, K2.
I don't know if he's going to be in season 1.
Yeah.
He'll be in season 2. Um, but
Yeah. I'm sad.
I think at the end, because this show does timeline wise starts and finishes, or not, I shouldn't say finish, but starts at the same time as Rebels does 5 years before, and so we're gonna get overlap with Rebels, and once the rebellion is with
In full swing.
the rebellion, the alliance, Rebel Alliance, that's what it is. The Rebel Alliance is established in Rebels, and so I think we could get an overlap with that.
Ooh, that would be so
That thing
cool because
that
they
would,
use those actors from
yeah,
Ahsoka and they just threw them
yeah.
in.
So I think
I'm
that
down.
I think there's going to be a live action uh, version of that uh, meeting in Rogue and Rebels, and so, but that would be next season because that happens in Rebels in like season 2. I think it's 3, season 3 maybe, where the Rebel
I was
Alliance
gonna
is.
say I think it's 3.
Yeah, so that won't be until next season because next season is 4 through all the way through 4 BBY through just the start of Rogue One. So be like halfway through second season that we'll probably get that. But um, that being said, anyway, my point was I think eventually B2 and Chopper will meet, and it'll be cool just to like, I don't know, Chopper being a bad
Or
influence
maybe we
on
won't
him.
see B2 after this.
We
After
probably
this
won't because
planet
he's probably gonna be
gets
stuck on his planet. I get
yeah.
it,
This might be
but they
the
did show him in the trailer, so like
well. I
a
was gonna say
throwaway droid is not gonna be.
I don't know, bro. I think a lot of that trailer is these first 3 episodes.
That is true. That is
Like
true.
I don't know if we're gonna get any more of these soldiers past these first 3 episodes.
I don't know. I think this main soldier that was in the trailers and in this episode, I think we're going to see him continually pursue Cassian. Um, but it could just be simply just a 3 episode arc in a sense where this is one and done. But I don't know. They spent a lot of money on that security, make that security field and or headquarters, and so
That's true.
I don't know. We'll see. We got 2 more episodes today to watch anyway. So, but anyway, yes. So B2 he goes to like a junkyard where Cassian has a ship that looks like it's not operable, but that's just where he stays. Um, and he's like, Cassian, wake up, wake up! I have what you wanted me to go get. And then so he says, Cassian, Cassian. And he's not waking up, and he says, Casa, Casa. And then it goes to a flashback, and so we find out that Cassian's real name is Casa,
Mm-hmm.
which was I didn't expect that either. I thought that was kind of cool. So, um, let's see. So yes, so it goes to a planet which is Canary, which is where he says his sister is from earlier in the episode. So the planet Canary, and it's him and his sister and a bunch of other kids and teenagers that are seemingly living on their own. Um, very Lord of the Flies. Are you familiar with that movie from the 80s?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that movie since I was like a kid, but it's like these kids get like shipwrecked on this planet, and it's just these kids trying to survive on this island, and it's like they become primitive. And so this is like a very primitive uh, group of humans. There seems like there's no technology. They just have kind of like ragtag clothes, and we'll see later they use blow darts as their weapons. They don't have any technology. I think they had a water cantina thing, whatever you call it. Um,
They had like scrap metals
yeah, so it's like
supplies that seemed more modern, but
yeah,
majority of their stuff was older.
so something's going on where there's like everyone's like scrambling, all the kids are scrambling and looking to the sky, and we see some sort of ship crossing by the sky, and then the back blows up and everyone's watching, and then it goes and crashes. And so assumingly this is um right I'm assuming this is right as the empire is established. I think um when they go investigate this ship, I think it's going to be I wouldn't be surprised if there's something familiar about it or something. Maybe it's a Republic ship that a Jedi was fleeing on or something, or is being someone was being chased by the newly established Empire, or clones in a ship they're chasing after the ship or something. So I mean, it's very intriguing for me, like what is in if there's a bigger significance to the ship other than just a ship crashing. Um, Obviously, we'll find out. Um, so that's the first flashback. So I'm excited about flashbacks. I hope they continue through the season and are not just um, this first part of the series. But Cassian wakes up and um, the droid wakes him up and gives him what he was looking for, which I think was just like a food portion of something. I believe it was. He just had a little similar to like what Ray had in Rogue One, but not when you add water to. It's just kind of like a I don't know.
Yeah.
So he's scrambling. He doesn't have money for food, so he needs to set a droid out to go get him food. But the droid says people were looking for you last night. They came here looking, and so I think it was. So it was. Let's see. I wrote names down. I thought. So Tim, Timm, was one of them, which is who was with that girl in that shop. And then there was another guy that, well, I guess we can just jump into it. But he goes and finds a friend to make an alibi for what happened last night. So he's like, I forgot his name. So I was like a B. I thought I didn't write it down, but
Yeah.
might be like Bassa or something, or Bassi or something like that. I thought
Something like that. I don't remember, but I don't remember the name. But yeah, it was like the droid was. He told him that these guys came over and that guy came to look for him.
Yeah. So
last night, so
then
he kind
Cassian goes
of was
out
like, yeah.
to go find him, make an alibi. So, so this group of people come out to like start their shift, I guess. And so one of them is Cassian's friend, and he's like, "Hey, we went out last night to the bar, but the bar was filled with people that I owe money to, so we didn't want to go in. So we went back to your place and we got drunk, and I slept at your place last night," type of thing. So like it was like an alibi story, and so the guy agreed. And first of all, why are they hanging their work gloves, out in public like that? Like,
I think that's their version of clocking in.
I know, but I'm like, man, someone could steal your gloves.
I don't think anyone wants those gloves.
I don't know. Some of those gloves are probably kind of cool. Like,
I mean, it looks cool, but I thought it was a cool concept, honestly, like how they clock in. Like, if their gloves hanging up, then they're not at work.
They're not working. So,
and if you noticed, someone pointed this out to me, was there's one pair that wasn't taken, and so people are speculating that's Andor's, and that's how that guy knows him. He used to work there.
Maybe because he did say something about.
He said like get back to work, like you need to get back to work.
Need your help or something like that.
So.
Yeah, maybe if Cassian didn't if he actually went to work, he wouldn't owe all these people money.
Correct. Yeah.
Work off your debt, bro.
And with that guy made a good "your mom" joke at the end of that, which was kind of funny.
Oh, what did he say? I remember he said,
you need to get back to work so you can help pay your mom for the heat. It was cold there last night.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, at first I was like, wait, what? And then Will's like, that was a good "your mom" joke. I was like, yeah, it was. What the heck?
Yeah, like you're living with your mama, like grow up type of thing. Yeah. So then this is like where we first see he's really scrambling because I think it's because he killed 2 people that he's worried about being found, and so that's why he is in a kind of scrambling in a sense to come up with an alibi and make sure that I was here this whole time. But yeah, so I thought that's just cool. I wonder if how many of these friends are going to be a continual part of the story this season, or if it's just what happens on this planet is kind of where they.
What happens. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think this guy though, from the way they made that conversation, I think he is going to be in this show a little bit more. And then, of course, the girl and her.
Yeah, I think that girl will be pretty, significant for the whole show.
And I was wrong because when I did that, the trailer, when we did that trailer breakdown, I assumed that was his lover.
So. We'll talk about it. I think it might be, but.
Oh, okay.
I have my. But. Anyway, before moving forward, we should just take a little commercial break for some seasoned veterans. They know what this is. We just started doing this, but for anyone new, we got a little commercial break for a special project that we're working on as a podcast, and we need your help. So here a little commercial break from our listener and big fan, Lucy.
Hey everyone, Lucy here, and I'm pleased to tell you that some of my fellow Empire Radio listeners and I made a fantastic original Star Wars audio drama, all through sending voicemails to the pod. It's called the Voicemail Cinematic Universe. Here's the thing, we need your help. The Empire's goal is to get an illustration made by us listeners for every single voicemail, and we have quite a ways to go. So if you have any sort of artistic abilities, join the crew. Any type of media is welcome. Lego scenes, digital art, paintings, you could even make food art. If you answer this call to action, there's a link in the description that leads directly to a Google Doc. It tells you exactly how to submit your art. This whole VCU project will be 100% fan-made, and we can't wait to see everyone's work. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it.
All right, cool. Yeah, do it. So, if you're new, earlier this year we had a crazy, and since we're 3 or 4 of our fans would send in voicemails to do an audio drama, and they did not talk to each other beforehand or at any point. They just kind of sent them in, writing the story as went, and it was an amazing story, but we want to illustrate that story. And so if you are, like Lucy said, an artist, you can paint, draw, do digital art, anything, there's a link in the description where you can see these voicemails and listen to them and submit art submissions for them. And so we'll definitely do some social media shout outs if you submit, if you want that or whatever, but more the merrier. We got 60 some voicemails to go still. So please, if you're new, check it out. We'd love to see your art because we have had some really good art submissions so far, and we want to continue doing that. So hopefully by Christmas we can have this done, but it all depends on you. It's all on you. So check it out, and and if you're new, we'll be doing this reminder every week until it's done. So
buckle up if you're new.
Yep.
And make sure you follow us while you're buckling up.
But yeah, so anyway, so now in the episode we transfer to the security HQ of Morlano 1. And so one of the guys that we see from the trailer, like a main guy that we see from the trailers, some sort of security officer guy head, maybe somewhat higher up in the rankings, is talking with probably the head security guy about 2 of their guards that were found dead. And I don't know, I thought that the boss guy was pretty smart and wise about things, because he's looked at the evidence and he's like, okay, they're in an illegal part of town. They were pretending to be on duty. They shouldn't have been there. They were at some brothel. This is bad stuff. And it looks like this was an accident of some sort. Now so I was like, we need to come up with a story that these guys were kind of these guards were trying to save someone, and they were trying to be heroes, but they got killed trying to fight for the good of people or whatever. So he got it wrong that they're trying to be heroic. They're just actually doing something bad, which he might have thought they were doing something bad, so he just wanted to lie about that even more. But I thought it was cool that he figured out very easily that this was an accident, and it was an accident in a sense. And so he tells the head or that other guard that hey, don't look into this too much. Just it is what it is. Just forget it type of thing. He's like, I have this meeting with the Imperial whatever to make sure everything's going good here. I don't want to deal with a murder case because they don't want to see crime. If they see a rise in crime, then the Empire's going to come and take us over, basically. So forget this ever happened. Let's just keep our crime rates low, in a sense.
Yep.
And so I kind of like this new guard guy. I think he's very interesting because it's he's by the book.
Yep.
And following rules, but I can tell that he cares. I don't want to say I don't think he's trying to do it to grow, advance in rankings or anything like that. I think he
it doesn't seem like he's doing it to impress the Empire or anything like that.
Or
he's doing it just because he doesn't want crime on his planet.
Yeah, and
we could be wrong, but that's how it portrays right now.
And it's he's these are still our people. They were killed. and we need to take care of it. So like he's, I think he's gonna be portrayed as like an antagonist, I think,
Mhm.
but I still think has good intentions. He's a good guy in a sense, as far as we know, and
For now, I
for
think at a
now,
certain point, it seems like I think they might go that route though, where he might end up, uh, like working with the Empire to get this crime figured
maybe
out.
like that could happen. Where
Because we've seen in the trailer that at some point, like you said earlier, the Empire ends up on their planet, and so maybe he figures out who it is, figures out that it's Cassian, and then he sends a signal to the Empire because he's not getting support from his planet.
right, but it is
But
interesting, like why would like the Empire doesn't care about like 2 guards being murdered. Like that's just like yeah, sure they care about crime rates on planets, but
yeah,
like something's gonna happen where the Empire does come, and I wonder if it's which we'll see. Maybe it's more about the smuggling aspect of the trade planet.
hmm
Um, also in relation to like a murder. Um, like we don't know exactly how that's gonna play out, but I think you're right that somehow he's going to sympathize with the Empire and want their help, and that's going to be kind of like he's going to be like a midway point, and I think he's going to see sides to both sides. He's going to see, the him being like a good guy on the in the Morlani system, like their system is trying to be good people and just live their lives, but he's also
hmm
going to see the side of the Empire, and he's going to make that choice of like be a good guy or a bad guy, and maybe with his interactions with Andor eventually, obviously they're going to meet at some point. I think it could be maybe like a Agent Callus and Zeb thing where they get stranded together and they learn about each other's sides and struggles, and maybe he'll turn to the rebellion, join the rebellion at some point. I don't know.
yeah.
I think he's a cool character, just what we know so far, and I look forward to see how his character fleshes out. Um, but yeah, so that's just a quick scene from that, and I don't know. I didn't like the whole like the guy was like, "Did you change your uniform?" Like he like, yeah, I modified it a little bit. Like I changed this, and this. I'm like, that's like a weird detail. Like he's by the book, seems like following the rules, but he changed his uniform a little bit. Like what's going on? I don't know. I guess
Maybe he's not by the book. Maybe he's trying to get ahead. Maybe.
maybe he's trying to be fly for a space guy. Oh, hit the
Oh,
button.
but the button I really wanted to hit.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah. So like I said, I look forward to him. So after this, Cassian goes to another shop. Now, this shop seems like they're selling a lot of the same parts, like these long cylinder things in engines. And later on, he's like, "Hey, are you going to the Wabani whatever to place your bets?" A lot of these engines kind of look like pod racers, pod race
hmm
engines. You notice that? Is that what it
That's
is?
what I think that's what it is. Like,
Do you think we're going to see a
the-
pod race in this show?
yeah, well, maybe not see one, but I think that's what they're implying. Like, that's what
I
they're
hope we
doing.
see one.
Because people kept coming in and making bets and stuff.
And
Like
like,
there was
but
different people at the table, so it seems like that's what they do is like they mod or fix people's broken pod race, and also that's where they
I,
put their bets for it.
I really hope we
That'd
get a
be
pod
sick.
race.
That'd be dope. I'd be
Like,
down.
like what if we see like some of the people from like episode 1 pod race or something? Like, I feel like most of them died, but like,
Ooh, that'd be cool, dude.
who is the main
What
guy?
if
What
we
was his
see?
name?
Yeah, what's his name?
Uh,
Gosh, dang it!
uh,
Oh my gosh, we're so bad.
Chad, what is his name? Did he die?
No, he didn't.
Oh no, because it crashed. But like
Boba. Saboba.
Saboba. Do you think we'll see him?
That'd be sick. Oh my gosh, that'd be so cool.
Even if we just see him like
Saboba.
for like 10 seconds, like just getting into his pod racer,
I would cry. I would scream.
that'd be so cool. I hope, dude.
That'd be sick.
Everyone wants more
Don't
pod racing.
spoil if it's in the next episode.
Yeah, don't say
say
anything, but
Oh.
I think it'll be cool. Anyway, so that seems like that's the kind of shop they fix engines, maybe potentially for pod racers, and it seems like it was a better like a more well-to-do shop or something. Like it wasn't like some crappy shop. It seemed like they were like knew what they were doing there. Cause like he was like selling one engine part to like the Alien for like 15,000 credits or something like that. Like, it seems like it's a more expensive, high-end repair shop or custom place or whatever. So I'm excited for that. But anyway, he goes and talks to the girl named Bix, Bix. Now, first time through, I thought he was saying Biggs, Biggs. So that's like my notes are saying Biggs, but it's Bix, and so she seems like a black market, works with the black market with like some sort of organization or contact that's off planet that comes to the planet once a month or something. And because she says she bundles things together before she calls her contact to come and get them. But Cassian's like, I need him here now. I need him to come. Like I have something that he'll come just for this one thing. And she doesn't believe him. She's like, calm down. Like you can do this when everything else comes. Like you don't got to do that. And he's like, I need this now. Cause obviously he's scrambling to get off planet to hide because he wants to sell this, whatever. So he has something called an NS9 Star Path unit. Now, I don't know exactly. I don't know what that is.
Sounds expensive.
I'm thinking it might be like a hyperdrive, like a Star Path unit, like to navigate the stars. Maybe like some navigation system, a hyperdrive system.
Whatever it is, it's stolen and it's expensive.
And it's brand new because he says something like it still has Imperial seals on it or something like that. And so she realizes, yes, this is expensive. Like, I'll see what I can do, type of thing. But I don't know their relationship. I think it's still romantic because it seems like Cassian's like, oh, are you two like her and Tim Timm, like the other guy there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, seems like he's like, are you guys together, type of thing? Blah blah blah. And so, from my outside observation, Tim and Bix do not seem like a couple, but I'm not going to judge. They can know what they say. There's can't stop true love. So, but I think Cassian and Bix have a past of romance, or it's kind of like a unspoken romance for each other where they haven't moved into it, like pursued it, but like they both kind of have that tension of like, hey, you're kind of cute, but we can't, type of thing. I think eventually it's gonna happen in the show. They're gonna kiss in the show. You heard it here first, folks.
I mean, their noses.
They're almost Eskimo kiss.
At one point, I was like, "What?" I think, in Tim or whatever that guy's name is, in his mind, they're together. But it sounds like she's using him to like get away with stuff, or
because like, Cassian does say that she was taking money off the top. So like,
so it seems like he's getting a little bit what he wants from her, but in return, she's actually just using him for other things.
Right, because she even wanted.
He's in love, and she's not.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Poor guy.
Poor guys. We always fall in love and then get our hearts broken by girls who don't like us back. That's just the way it is in life. But she seems like she seems to have she wanted to scam Cassian because she's like, okay, you sell that NS9 to me, and then I'll sell it to this guy. So like she wanted to split the profits in a sense where she got cut, and she's like, no, I need every penny I can get. So she's not afraid to she's not timid. She knows what she wants. She
She
knows.
knows how to get what she wants. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. If it seems like, and he doesn't appreciate that there's secrets that she's holding secrets from him.
Right. So
So
this is an interesting relationship. I wonder what the past is, and it's going to be interesting moving forward. So then after this, we get in our flashback, and all these kids and teenagers, they're putting on war paint in a sense, like putting stuff on their face. They're getting blow darts ready. They're like dipping it and stuff. So I think those are poison blow darts.
mhm.
And Cassian, he's young, and so like I think he's okay. The actor is clearly older than 6 years old,
But is he supposed to be 6?
but I think this is supposed to imply this is 6-year-old Cassian,
Unless they
unless
forgot that line.
they didn't. Okay, they're not gonna forget that line. Because they guarantee you they watched that movie 1,000 times while they were
Or
making
if
it.
he's saying that he's been in the fight since he was 6 because his parents passed away at 6.
Possibly.
Like,
So
it doesn't necessarily mean that at this point he's 6. It means at some point he is alone and he's in charge of watching over his sister, but
right,
he's a very young age. So it could be since the point of his parents dying, probably from the Empire, or at some point he's been in the fight.
right. So,
So
but I,
either way,
how
he's young.
old do you think? If this is not him being 6, and this
He
is
looks
fears
like he's 10.
10. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm terrible at
Because
gauging
his
kids'
sister
ages.
looks like she's more like 6.
Right.
Because she's younger than him, clearly, because they're
Yeah.
not letting him go. So
Yeah. So he seems maybe he's too young to join the search team, and they're gonna go to like investigate this crash. But like, so he reaches into like the circle to like get the war paint to like put on his face. The one kid, older kid, yells at him, but then like the teenage girl who seems to be like the leader of the tribe or whatever, kind of like yells at the older one and allows Cassian to put paint on his face.
yeah, Reddit in the chat also said like the kid definitely looks older than 6, and then they appreciate what I said, like, and my theory / explanation. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, it's I don't know, but for me, it looks like at some point they had to. He has to be in charge, but he's also not 6. But so I think maybe through that like time of him saying that had to he's been fighting this war since he was 6. It's probably when his parents passed away is at 6.
Right.
And his sister looks like a couple years younger than him. So
Yeah. So this is the second flashback. And so this is when I noticed like they were all like fully primitive because they were using like blow darts and stuff like that.
and
So
paint like
right. So
real
I
paint.
think the reason why we don't, and we'll get, I guess it's kind of stay a little bit later, but the reason why I don't think we get translation of their language is because they're so primitive and untouched that like
There's no
the
translation for
the
it.
galaxy doesn't even know how to translate. Like they're like a
Oh,
group of people that haven't been discovered yet.
okay, I like that now.
And so like because they say that later on in the episode the Canary system is very obscure and unknown, like
Okay,
whatever.
I like that. I can get
And
behind that.
like they're so obscure that like it was 6 years prior was the last time the Empire had like a census of it. And it's like the Empire doesn't even care about it. And so I think the people on this planet, they've probably, yes, they've had some contact with the outside galaxy, because they have like a metal cantina for water and some other things that are like scraps and stuff. But I just think they're just so primitive that no one in the galaxy can understand or translate them. Like they're more obscure than Ewoks. Like that's how they're less in contact.
Well, I guess the Ewoks, so there's no translation.
I thought C-3PO translated for him.
Well, C-3PO does.
Yeah,
That's
so that means
true, but
there was.
C-3PO still might be able to do it.
No, okay. It's
10
based
million,
on
6 million different languages.
yeah, but they have to be programmed to have that. They don't just like
True, that's
instantly.
fair.
So like, So that's my explanation. I think it's very interesting. It's cool that like we don't know what they're saying. We just have to go based off of like expressions and tones and
Yeah, okay, I can get behind it now. This episode's a 7.5 now instead of a 7.
all right.
That I like that theory. I think that's good.
So that's a new part of Star Wars where like it's an untouched people
It
group.
threw me off. I was like, do we not know what they're saying? But
Well,
I guess
but
that makes sense.
here's the thing. Okay, so when I don't maybe they fixed it, but the last time I watched Solo was on Disney Plus, and when they're in like the scene when Chewbacca and Han meet, and they're speaking in Shuriwook,
Mm-hmm.
so the subtitles don't automatically show up on screen. You have to manually put them on for you to see it.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe, once I watched the second time with subtitles, the translation will be there for that. But like, I don't understand why they don't automatically put the subtitles on during that scene when they're.
I think it's the same kind of. It's not the same concept, but it's the fact that like they're just
Right.
yelling.
But in the movie theater, there was subtitles.
Was there?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
because it's Han is like,
and it's just a setting issue probably on their end.
I don't know. Maybe they fixed it now, but I remember I was like, I remember there being subtitles, and I wasn't on there, so I don't know. So I thought it was maybe the same thing, but I guess not. So that's I don't know. This was so they're getting ready to go for a fight. So that is that flashback, and so then this Morlani guard. Now I don't think we got a name for him yet. I don't think they named him.
No, I don't think so either.
But even though he was told to stop investigation, but now his boss has seemingly left the planet to go with this Imperial meeting. So he's like, okay, maybe I have some time, a few days to like use resources to try and investigate behind his back. So he goes, and he goes to like a room that seems like they track all the air traffic to and from the planet. And it looks like he has a contact, like a buddy that works in that department or whatever. He's like, hey, you can look at the maps for that time or whatever. And he notices one of the ships, which was like a square when everything else seemed like to be little arrows or triangles. And so he's like, well, what is that ship? And the guy's like, I don't know. It's the signature on this thing is super old. Maybe it's just like a old vehicle, like a cab or a van, like a little passenger something. And it was able to
place.
Yeah, it was able to enter the system and leave the system without having to check in. So like the guy like, well, is this a busy traffic night? Like, some vehicles just don't get caught going in and out, and this just happens. And the guard was like, nah, that's not acceptable. Like, we shouldn't allow that. But it was a starting point for him. Like, okay, I want you to find his entire route, like from when he got here until when he left. And so it seems like it probably would take hours for him to do, but the guy like just get it done.
Well, no, he said he's like, I would have to watch over that the whole night, or like look through the whole night log or whatever. And the guy's like,
Yeah.
well, there's plenty of people that would love to sit in that chair. And then he looked around. So it was like, it was like another thing. It was like, not, it seems like these guys don't want to do their jobs. Like they're very like, oh, we're fine, nothing's wrong here. And like even like with the main guy, they're letting a brothel be there and open, and they all know about it, but they're not doing anything about it because it just seems like they're kind of all just like just getting by essentially. Like, but this main guy literally is like, no, we're doing everything by the book. He's one of those bosses, like.
Yeah.
And these other guys are like, I'm just here to get a paycheck and survive. And so it just goes to show you like they're not all there for. And later on we find out that even everyone else is like that. So, which I think might push him to help out the Empire in the long run so that he could potentially become part of the Empire because where he's at now, no one wants to be there.
Right.
It's hard to manage a group of people that don't want to be there. So maybe he's able to go and be part of the Empire and be a higher rank person.
Yeah. Yep. So the guard leaves it at that. And then it goes to Cassian walking through the streets of the city or the town, and he gets stopped by one of his friends of some sort, and his name is Nurchi. And Nurchi's like, "You owe me money, blah blah blah." In case like, no, it's being invested. Like I invested that like for something. We're just waiting for the return on that investment to come. And he's like, "Sorry, like, I'm not gonna let this go. Like everyone else that you owe money to, and forget about like you owe me my money." And then this giant, huge alien that goes by Vetch is there, and it's funny because like Cassian is like didn't even believe that like this Vetch guy was like a threat. Like
I mean, he
you're
could
working
be a
for
threat,
him.
but he's like, you're really working for him. And he's
Like
like, well, he's paying me to stand here. And he's
yeah,
like, okay, so you're not going to do anything to me.
I
So,
thought that was so.
like,
First of all, I could not understand that guy's voice at all. I had no idea what he said until the second time I watched it with subtitles. I was like, "Oh, that's really funny. I'm just being paid to stand here."
yeah. And then the guy's like,
And then Cassian like screw you guys, like I'm just leaving. And then Nurchi looks back at Vec, and Vec is like, "What?
what?
I did what you want me to do."
Like,
That is funny. Like,
because it seems like that guy's also like Cassian's friend too. So it's like
yeah,
two of his friends are going to beat him up for money that he owes them. And
I don't know.
yeah.
Vetch is. I feel like Vetch is just a cool guy. Like,
Well,
he's super chill.
he
He's just
seems like
like
very like,
he's
I
kind of
could be,
like
but he'll probably turn it on when he needs to though.
I want to see him and Wrecker be friends.
Oh, I mean, he kind of had that Wrecker feel too.
But
Like,
I think he'd be him and Wrecker. They could be good friends. Just
true.
I
Eating
think they're just
popcorn together.
big
Teddy bears.
big
Yeah.
teddy bears on the inside. Like, but when need be, he can be vicious. But yeah, so that happens. Then it goes to Bix. She leaves the shop. So obviously we know she's gonna make the call as she said earlier, like meet her contact or whatever. So she leaves. Then her supposed boyfriend, follows her, but then he bumps into some alien, and then like
he bumps into a gong droid.
Oh, there is a gonk droid there, but he doesn't bump into a gonk droid because the guy's like carrying stuff, and like drops it,
Yeah, you're right.
and like the alien like yells at him, but because of that he knocks that guy's stuff down,
He
like he
loses
sight of Bix, and then she ends up leaving or escaping in a sense, and so she goes into this shop, and the guy there's like, "Oh, I haven't seen you for a while," like blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just looking for this part." And he's like, "Yeah, it's in back, behind the yellow shelf. You're gonna have to dig back there."
Yeah.
Which I was like, okay, something was a little weird here, but it's just kind of like it's an undercover thing. So she climbs into like all this scaffold, like tubes of things in this rack, and then the camera goes up to this tower. I'm like, what is this tower? Like, what the heck? And so she starts climbing this tower, and then inside this tower, there's like a hidden radio system. I'm like, dude, this is kind of cool.
It was pretty sick.
And so she like puts on this earpiece, and like it seems like she's doing like Morse code or something, like something very primitive. Like, yeah, like right now, like if you wanted to like send a secret message, do like Morse code, and like no one knows how to read Morse code anymore. So like do something that the Morlani government and the Imperial government wouldn't necessarily know how to pick up on or be looking for. So she makes radios this contact she has that Cassian wants to sell this thing to. So Okay, cool. And then I don't know. I have something written in my notes. I have no idea what it means, so I'm gonna skip that. But then we go to like a ship, like a small like shipyard thing with a guard with like two dogs. Hound dog. Are they the same ones from I forgot to ask earlier. The same ones from Solo.
Yeah, well,
The same kind of dog.
the same kind of dog, yes. Which I wonder if it's the same dog actors, because in Solo they had the dogs from Game of Thrones, the wolves from Game of Thrones or whatever. They had them as those dogs in Solo, and they kind of like CGI'd over them.
I don't know what that means. What do you mean
So
dogs
like,
from Game of Thrones?
so in Game of Thrones, they're the wolves or whatever in Game of Thrones, and so then they put so those wolves or whatever, I don't even think they're wolves, they're probably huskies, but anyways, whatever those dogs were in the show Solo, but then or in the movie Solo, but then they CGI'd that over top of them so they look like alien, but they're actually acting like real dogs. So I wonder if those are real dogs underneath those costumes, or are they
Oh,
just
are the
all
dogs in Game
for.
of Thrones like real dogs, or
Yeah, no, they're real dogs in Game of Thrones.
they look like real dogs, or they look like
They
weird
look like wolves.
creatures?
Like I think they're huskies, or
Oh,
they're actually honestly like trained wolves. I'm not sure, but in the beginning, the first season, I think the first two seasons, the forget the people have there's like three dogs that the people have. So because I remember it was like a Easter egg thing, because like what's her name from Game of Thrones is also in Solo, and it was like a little callback kind of thing. So that was, I wonder if it's the same dog
okay.
trainer or the same dogs, but I don't know.
All right, cool.
To look at the credits, see
Yeah.
who played
So
the
the
dogs.
so they're in like a little like shipyard thing, or I don't know if shipyard's the right word, but like a tarmac in a sense where there's like ships. It seems like
It was really
implied
cool looking. I
there's
thought
a
it was
bunch of
amazing.
different ships, and the guy notices someone's like messing with one of the ships, and goes and looks, and it's Cassian with the ship that he flew earlier. At the beginning of the episode when he's fled Morlana 1.
Hmm.
And so I forgot to mention this, but his ship that he used and in this scene, it's like the back half looks like a
A
Y
Y
wing,
wing.
but
Yep.
the front half kind of reminded me of like the Slave 1.
Hmm.
And I was like, this is kind of cool, like a Slave 1 X or a Y wing mashup ship.
Yeah, it was weird looking. It was
And
cool though.
so what Cassian is doing is he's switching out the IT or ID chips in
Hmm.
this ship,
So it doesn't
which
show that he went there.
right. So I think he did that on purpose, like this to remove his ship in a sense from that tracking, which will make it more difficult for it to be tracked by the Morlani government or security sort whatever. And so it's kind of like they kind of had an argument because like Cassian always borrows ships and is always kind of like switching out memory chips or the ID chips or something. And the guy's like, "You need it. This is a lot. Like you're done doing this. We can't do this anymore. I gotta get back to work. Get out of here. Leave this place." Um,
Because he's gonna get in trouble because he's there during the day, not just at night.
right.
So
So okay.
Cassian's burning bridges. That's what it seems like. He's definitely burning bridges at this point.
Yeah. So all right. So that's how that goes with that. And then the final scene is as the kids and teenagers leave their little village to go investigate this crash ship. And so, as Cassian is leaving, his little sister kind of goes like stop him type of thing or tell goodbyes or something. And you can tell she's kind of scared of him going off. This probably is his first like time leaving. This might be the first time they've been separated since they've been on their own. Um, but it seems like a lot of the little kids are the ones that are back in this village while the older ones go out to fight the battle in a sense. And so,
Let's go look at the crash
yeah,
site.
so Cassian like I said earlier, I thought he said something like, I'll be back by dinner. It sounded like the word that he said was like dinner or dinner or something like that. So I was like, all right. So hopefully this isn't the last time they see each other. Like, that'd be terrible if like he comes back and that village is like burned
Gone.
down and all the kids are dead or missing or something.
Well, she's not dead because he's trying to find her now.
All right, but I'm saying like
Yeah,
he goes back and her body's not there if there's dead bodies.
potential.
So like she's missing.
Because remember in the trailer, at some point they look up and there is, what's it called?
A Star Destroyer. That might be like, but that was older people though.
I don't. Yeah, was it Star Destroyer or was it just like?
There is a Star Destroyer that comes in because then there's like the TIE fighters like escorting it
Yeah.
in. But I think that has to be much later though, because like I
Maybe.
feel like the people looking up were
I'm just curious
more
why the
adults.
ship crashed.
Yeah, and I think
Maybe there's a battle above them and they don't realize it.
I'm kind of hoping that that's how the next episode starts. Is like that ship trying to escape or something from someone and it's getting shot down and it crashes.
Like the chat was saying earlier, like there's a reason why this episode was a little bit more slow. So we'll find out.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
excited.
maybe next episode, you know, the writers had a little more energy when they were writing the story.
True.
And you know how you can get a little bit more energy when you're writing, Drew?
Well, the same way I'm gonna have more energy for the next recording.
And what's that?
More coffee
Coffee. Coffee from who?
from our sponsor.
All right, let's listen. If you like coffee, if you're new and you like coffee, well, we got a deal for you. We have a sponsorship from Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea, and listen to this little commercial for a little discount on some amazing coffee.
Go do it.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor of today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that whether you live in the Twin Cities or not, you can get their coffee beans delivered straight to your door by ordering them online. They even have a subscription service that ensures you never run out of amazing coffee. If you've been looking for some new coffee to try or a way to elevate your normal coffee routine, now's your chance. Head over to wesleyandrews.cc, use the code EMPIRERADIO, that's with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, to get 15% off your first purchase of any bags of coffee or a coffee subscription. I can't think of a better deal. Get 15% off some great coffee, support a small business, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
All right. Well, that's the end of the discussion for this episode.
True.
And like we said, we're doing all
Overall,
three.
Jeremiah, what was your thoughts? Like, what was your?
Overall, I'd probably give it, you know, that 7.5 out of 10, just
Yeah.
because was just slow paced, like setting up things. But I think it's gonna be.
It's gonna do good. Next episode, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I think a lot of this show is gonna be more slow paced because it's gonna be a lot more political, more like that, where it's gonna be more subtle stuff. Which I think is a good.
I think the action parts are gonna be really intense because of that, though.
Yeah. So there's gonna be like a big jump. Like there's gonna be slow parts and then really intense parts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I probably set 7.5 out of 10. But like it's not like a bad, like something with a 7.5. Oh, that's kind of crap. It was so good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I just think there's a reason why they have more than one episode. I'm just concerned for the average viewer to keep going.
All right. Well, hopefully, if you're listening to this and you're kind of on the fence and moving forward, hopefully our discussion helps kind of spark some more
interest and just I just encourage you to
give the show a chance.
Watch the second episode. I mean, watch the first 3 episodes, honestly, and then that's a good chunk. And if you don't like it by then, you probably won't like it as much.
I really think that this show is going to be the best show yet for live action Star Wars. I have really high hopes for this, but I think it's one of those things. It's kind of like season 1 of Clone Wars. Like it's kind of rough. It's at the beginning it's rough, but it keeps getting better and better and better, and it's the best thing, one of the best things in all Star Wars. So I think the show is going to be like that. It's going to start out slow, but it's going to continue to get better and better, especially as we get more people like Mon Mothma and that Lucan guy and
more characters, and what's his name too is in this. So
I was gonna say Samuel L. Jackson, but Forrest Whitaker. Who knows? What if Mace Windu came up in the show?
Oh my gosh, that would be nuts if he's actually not. This is how they announce that he's not dead.
If Grogu shows up in the show, I'm rage quitting Star Wars.
Yeah, Jeremiah won't be here.
I will
if
be
next
done.
week we see a Grogu just walking around the background, Jeremiah's out.
Yep.
I don't think we're gonna see that. It'd be cool if we see like Mando as a younger guy.
Yeah.
Just in the background or something.
Yeah,
Not actually doing
be like 10 years younger, so he'd be like what, early 20s or something.
Yeah, something like that. It'd be kind of interesting to see him with his like messed up armor just in the background or something. Just walking around. Nothing like, I don't want like a big, like he actually helps Cassian or anything. I just want to be like, oh, there he is in the background.
I wish they did that in Star Wars shows where it's in the background you see someone, they never talk to him, never really zoom in on him, you just see him kind of like Quinlan Voss in the Phantom Menace. Like he's sitting in Tatooine in the back, like at a table.
Oh yes.
Like let's do that. Let's have Mando sitting in
just sitting at a
cafe.
What if he was at the brothel on the other side of the bar?
Oh gosh, someone that'd be so funny in the brothel. There's someone we know.
Make sure you keep your helmet on though, Mando.
Okay, who would be the best character to have sitting in one of the booths in that brothel that we know? That's a good like.
That's a good question. Dex. Oh,
Dex. Dex. he has 4 arms, so he has 4 girls. Like his arms around 4 girls.
All right, we gotta stop this conversation.
All right. So before we go, we can talk about our social media.
Yes.
So in the link below, links.co/Empire Radio, links with 2 eyes, is a landing page for all of our stuff. So Facebook, Instagram, join the Discord,
Twitch, YouTube, all that fun stuff.
Our fan email, also the same link for the VCU Illustration Project, which is also in the description as a specific link, but it's also in this landing page. Also, if you are into other nerdy stuff, we are part of needlesslynerdy.com podcast network. And so I think there's going to be some more people joining that network soon. So there'll be more nerdy stuff for that if you like that kind of thing. So let's follow us on all those things. If you're only listening to us right now, audio version on Spotify or iTunes or something, we do live streams of this on Twitch, but we also have video versions that I edit for YouTube as well. So if you like watching a video version, you can actually see our faces while we talk.
With that too, we're doing watch parties for all these episodes of this show and other shows, previous shows too. So you guys can link up that time on YouTube or go on Twitch and watch it live with me. But you're able to see my reactions to certain scenes and stuff, and people enjoy that. And then we also do vlogs and other fun stuff on our YouTube. So there's a lot on our YouTube. So if you guys,
I forgot to mention though, I sometimes do Star Wars themed cooking things, and one of the guys
we don't talk about that.
Had like blue noodles like in a Chinese like container, like one of those. And I looked at my Star Wars cookbook, and there is a blue noodle recipe. So I might have to.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to
do something
make an
like
episode
that.
on that.
I'll have to get like one of the white like Chinese food boxes, so I can like
order Chinese food, eat it, and keep the retainer, and make your noodle dish.
Yep. So I'm gonna try and get these episodes edited and posted as fast. Maybe I can get some of these up today, at least the audio versions. But YouTube versions should be up within the next couple days, day or two, or something like that. So
yeah. But the watch parties are already up. So by the time you're listening to this, they're already up there live. So go check that out. But like that, we're doing all the episodes today. So If you
Yep.
guys are on Twitch, make sure you guys follow if you guys are just coming in, so you guys know when we go live for our next part. But also, yeah, bringing them all down today is gonna be fun. So buckle up.
Cool. Well, you've been listening to another Wizard episode of Empire Radio. I am Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
May the force be with you.
Always.